We're told that we're in the 6th great extinction right now in the history of the globe. 1/3 of species in both land and water are threatened with extinction now. And it's because of humans, the population, and what we're doing.
Friends of Shenandoah Mountain is a coalition with a very specific purpose: to designate Shenandoah Mountain as a national scenic area with some embedded wilderness areas. The Shenandoah Mountain proposal is a 90,000 acre proposal in the George Washington National Forest. It stretches from Route 250 to Route 33. It includes areas like High Knob, Hone Quarry, Reddish Knob, Briary Branch Lake, Todd Lake, North River Campground, Stanton Dam, and it also includes the Ramsey's Draft area. The goal of this legislation is to keep it like it is, just to keep it like it is.
Shenandoah Mountain is unique. It's one of the larger roadless areas east of the Mississippi.
It offers the opportunity for wildlife to migrate. So wildlife corridors are really important to the future of conservation, and Shenandoah Mountain can really be a base for that, especially if we have a national scenic area.
It has 10 peaks above 4,000 feet. Shenandoah Mountain provides habitat for about 250 species of birds.
So if you want to know what makes Central Appalachia and Virginia in particular unique, it's the endemic salamanders, these salamanders that live here and nowhere else. That's really special. So a lot of my work in the last couple of years centered around the cow knob salamander, which is found on Shenandoah Mountain and nowhere else.
The Nature Conservancy has identified biodiversity hotspots in the United States, and Shenandoah Mountain is actually a biodiversity hotspot.
It's a very special place. Its biodiversity is very high, and that's unusual in most places because of human intervention, development, agriculture, herbicides, all those things that wipe out plants wholesale.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that makes Shenandoah Mountain unique is it has recreational opportunities for a variety of different types of people. So hikers, mountain bikers, hunters, people that fish, people that just want to enjoy nature and get away from the crowds. Shenandoah offers opportunities for all varying types of interest and activities.
So how we treat our planet, how we look after our planet is critical, not only for us, but for our successors. What is the planet we're going to leave to them?
This proposal for protecting Shenandoah Mountain has many benefits. I think one of the most important benefits is protection of our water resource.
Water is one of the most basic needs human has.
I've also done a lot of international water development where I get to work with communities that don't have access to water. We're working with a school right now where the children there only have 2 cups of water per day. So supplying water in those areas really makes me value what we have here. And I think that's missed a lot in that we take that for granted. So by working in water development overseas and teaching about that in my classes, it really gives a much better appreciation of the resources, the water supply that we have here as well.
It's the watershed for drinking water for Harrisonburg, Bridgewater, and Stanton.
The water source is incredibly important. It's half of today's Stanton's water sources. It's a little less than 2.5 million gallons.
One thing I think that's really interesting about the Shenandoah Mountain proposal is that it has the headwaters for both the James River, the Potomac River, and the Shenandoah River.
But really, Shenandoah Mountain is the big, huge water tank for the state of Virginia.
The water that we have here, comes out of a well, and we rely on good water just like everyone else does.
The quantity of water, the purity of the water is vital not just to the Shenandoah Valley, but to the benefit of everyone in the state of Virginia and even the whole Chesapeake Bay area.
And there are people right at the foot of where we live that take their drinking water out of the stream that flows through here, Gum Run.
So there are lots of threats to water supply locally in this watershed, but larger in the larger region too. I think overuse and overconsumption are really big issues.
Now, as a trout fisherman, I've been guiding here for 35 years. I've been fishing 52 years, fly fishing 52 years, and I've seen these streams go through a lot of changes. And most of the changes these streams have gone through and the fisheries have gone through are related to man.
Well, I think so. When you hear so much about water that's been compromised, in different parts of our state already, but places like Flint, Michigan, and different places, it's a big deal.
Growing up in a little town up here, it's called Stokesville, a little village called Stokesville. When I was a young kid, before they built the flood control dams, it was not a bit unusual to go out and catch 16-inch wild brook trout.
All the water that we have now is all the water that we'll ever have in the future, and it's all the water that's been here for 4 billion years.
I think it would really be an outstanding thing if we could do something now to make sure that this remained the same for eternity. This is a chance for us to be proactive.
And we're all connected literally by the water that flows through this watershed.
So this would be permanently protected, and that gives both of these cities and many other towns and communities downstream water security permanently into the future. I really think that Shenandoah Mountain is at risk. It's underlain by Marcellus Shale, and in Pennsylvania and West Virginia, there's a lot of development for natural gas in Marcellus Shale, and that would really threaten our water supply.
It was Thoreau that said that in wildness is the preservation of the world, and it was true then, and I suspect it's even truer now because we have less of that wildness and that nature, and what we have is something that we really need to keep. If you think about the number of people that live within a 2 or 3 hour drive of this area, the pressures are going to come for development, and it would be nice to think that this would be off limits to the sort of development that would be detrimental to its existence as a wild and natural area.
I would be devastated to see Shenandoah Mountain used for fracking or a pipeline. As I mentioned, this place is very special to me, and I hate to think of something like that coming in and destroying the natural habitat, disturbing wildlife, disturbing natural systems, potentially disturbing our water supply. This place is special, and I think it should be protected, and the thought of something like that happening is very disheartening to me.
With the headwaters of several streams in the area, it really would impact not only fishing but just wildlife in general, where it really would affect water quality, and that would be devastating for a lot of people that don't realize where the water comes from.
We, like all creatures, we evolved with bright days and dark nights. It's that rhythm between light and dark that life on Earth evolved, and we need both.
9 out of 10 Americans today live in areas where they no longer see the Milky Way.
We've taken what was once one of the most common human experiences, which is walking out the door at night and coming face to face with the universe. And we've made it one of the most rare human experiences.
Going outside, seeing a dark sky with the Milky Way high above has been the source of our inspiration, our theology, our science, our spirituality, and it's disappearing.
This will actually be a real benefit to private landowners because it will protect the land around them and beside them so that they don't end up beside a fracking site or something.
Well, we acquired the property in 2010, and it belonged to my grandfather, and then before he had it belonged to my grandmother's side of the family. So it's been in the family for a long time. And I think that's the reason that it's so special to me, is it's connected to my history and to my family.
We've lived here about 3.5 years, but my family has actually owned a place in Raleigh Springs since I was 2. Because of that, we've always had access to Shenandoah Mountain.
And Shenandoah Mountain has been part of my life for as long as I can remember. Because the property belonged to my grandfather, I can remember coming here as a child and playing in the ponds and walking the trails, and so it's been a part of my entire life, and so that's one reason that it's so special to me today.
This is our neighborhood. These mountains are part of my neighborhood, and we want to keep it like it is. We'd like for it to always be there and be there for other people.
Not only is this a beautiful place and a wonderful wild area, but it's also our home. I mean, we live here, we're very connected to this land and this place, and so we'd really hate to see something happen on Shenandoah Mountain that would impact our home.
You know, the neat thing is seeing old photos from like when her dad was a young kid down by the cabin, and they have photos before the cabin was built down there. So you know, there's a long family history here, which is neat to take part of.
For me, the experience of being out in the woods, close to the things that I enjoy, is both psychologically and physiologically refreshing.
So I think living here gives us an increased appreciation for the connections that we have to nature and how powerful nature is, and it makes me feel small and insignificant in comparison to the world that I'm living in.
I think that many of the people that do come here either come here or leave here with an appreciation for how special this area is. And hopefully that will evolve into a concern for the future of not just Shenandoah Mountain in this area, but of this entire planet on which we live.